Your life is a reflection of your daily habits. Change them and you change everything. That's not just a quote. It's the truth behind every successful person you've ever seen. If you've been working hard but not seeing the results you want, chances are it's not your goals that are wrong, it's your habits. Success isn't built in one day, it's built by what you do every day, without skipping, without overthinking, and without excuses. This audiobook reveals 10 habits all successful people follow without fail. These aren't theories or feel-good ideas. These are real, practical, and proven habits that shape strong minds, powerful discipline, and long-term results. You'll discover how they think, how they move, how they stay focused, and how they never let comfort control them. The best part? You can start applying these habits right now. No special tools, no waiting, just real action. If you're ready to stop starting over and finally build a life that works, stay with this until the end. What you're about to hear can shift your thinking and reset your entire direction. Chapter 1. Get out of bed without hitting snooze once. You want to know where success starts? It starts the moment your alarm goes off and you don't hit the snooze button. That's the very first test of the day. And successful people, they don't fail that test. They don't roll over, they don't make excuses, and they don't ask for 5 more minutes, because they know those 5 minutes are not just 5 minutes. They are a message. A message to your mind, to your habits, and to your future. When you hit snooze, you're telling yourself it's okay to delay your life. You're saying comfort matters more than commitment. And if you keep saying that every morning, what kind of life do you think you'll build? Success is not some big moment that shows up out of nowhere. It's built in small choices that don't look like much to others, but mean everything to you. Waking up without hitting snooze. It sounds simple, but it's not easy. Especially when it's cold outside, when the bed feels warm, when your body feels tired. But here's what separates successful people from the rest. They move anyway. They don't wait to feel ready. They get up because they said they would. They understand that how you start the day sets the tone for everything that follows. You either start with power or you start with procrastination. And those are two very different lives. Every time you get up without delay, you're strengthening something deep inside you. You're telling your future self, I can be counted on. That builds self-respect. It builds trust with yourself. Because if you can't trust yourself to get out of bed when you said you would, how can you trust yourself to stay consistent in business, in health, in relationships? Discipline starts in the little moments, and this is one of the first. People ask me all the time, Jim, how do I build better habits? You start by winning your mornings. You win that moment when the alarm goes off and everything in you says, stay comfortable. But you stand up instead. You move your body. You take a deep breath. You face the day with intention. That's how winners start their day. And they do it without waiting for someone to cheer them on. When you wake up and move immediately, your body starts to respect your mind. That's powerful. Your energy changes. You feel alert, not sluggish. You feel ahead of the game, not behind it. Most people wake up already feeling behind because they keep snoozing their own life. They don't realize it's not about the clock. It's about your mindset. You're not fighting the alarm. You're fighting your own resistance. And when you win that fight, when you rise up, you carry that strength with you into every task that follows. See, successful people don't wait for motivation to strike. They build routines that remove the need for it. That's the difference. They don't negotiate with the alarm clock. They don't scroll on their phone first thing in the morning. They don't lie there thinking about what went wrong yesterday. They get up, they start clean, and they take ownership of the day before. The world starts pulling at them. You have to understand something. Life will keep throwing distractions and delays at you. The world isn't going to stop so you can catch up. So if you keep giving yourself permission to stay in bed when you know you should be up, you're falling behind. You're missing the chance to build momentum. You're teaching your mind that your feelings control your future. And if that's your mindset, success is always going to feel out of reach. Now, I'm not talking about getting up early just to say you did. That's not the point. The point is to take control of your day before the day controls you. You get up when you said you would, because it builds your will, because it teaches your mind to follow through, because it's a sign that you're no longer living by comfort, you're living by commitment. And that mindset, if you feed it every day, will change your life. So start simple. Set your alarm for a time that stretches you but doesn't overwhelm you. Put your phone across the room. Don't sleep with it in your hand. When that alarm rings, stand up immediately. Don't give your brain time to argue. The more time you spend thinking, the more excuses will show up. Move first, think later. Action builds confidence. Delay builds doubt. And don't just get up. Do something. Drink a glass of water. Make your bed. Open the window. Breathe deeply. Stretch. Feel alive. These are small wins, but they matter. They train your brain to seek progress instead of escape. Every little action compounds, and if you win enough of those small battles, you'll start to feel it. You'll feel different, sharper, stronger, more in control. The reason most people feel stuck is because they start their day by lying to themselves. They say they'll get up early, but they don't. They say they'll be productive, but they scroll for an hour. They say they want change, but they keep choosing the same habits. You can't build a new life with old behavior. Change starts the moment you wake up, and if you can conquer that moment, you'll start to believe you can conquer anything. Success leaves clues, and this is one of them. Get up when you said you would. Do it every day. No excuses, no deals with the snooze button, no just this once. Be the kind of person who follows through with the small things. Because the person who does that will one day look up and realize they've built a life of meaning, strength, and real freedom. So tomorrow morning, before the world has a chance to pull you in 100 directions, you get the first say, and what you do with that moment. That's the beginning of everything. Stand up, take responsibility, and start building the kind of life you don't have to escape from. That's how successful people live, and it begins with one decision. Don't hit snooze. Get up and show up for your own life. Chapter 2. Finish what you start, no matter how you feel. If you start something, finish it. That's one of the most powerful habits any successful person carries with them every single day. And it's not about the size of the task. It's not about whether it's exciting or boring, easy or hard. It's about doing what you said you would do. Because if you keep quitting things halfway, you're building a pattern that says, I don't follow through. And if that pattern gets repeated enough, you stop believing in your own ability to complete anything. Think about your daily life. You begin a task, maybe it's something small, a to-do list item, a workout, a conversation that needs to happen. Or maybe it's something big, like a business idea, a personal goal, or a habit you're trying to build. You start with energy, with good intention, but the moment it gets uncomfortable or boring or harder than you thought, you pull away. You say, maybe later, or this isn't the right time. That choice feels small in the moment, but it adds up. Every time you stop midway, you make it easier to quit again tomorrow. Success requires that you finish, even when the mood is gone, even when no one's watching, even when your body's tired or your mind is distracted. Successful people train themselves to push through discomfort. They build mental endurance by sticking with a task until it's done. They don't let their feelings decide whether they'll keep going. They make the decision once, and then they follow it all the way to the end. If you want real growth, you need to stop starting things you never complete. Don't jump from one goal to the next just because you got bored. That's not how mastery is built. You need to stay with it when it's frustrating, when progress is slow, when nothing exciting is happening. That's where your strength is built, not in the starting, but in the staying. There's a certain kind of power that comes from closing the loop. When you finish what you start, even something small, it builds personal pride. It creates this quiet confidence that says, I do what I say. That feeling is earned. It's not loud, but it's deep. And that depth shows up when life tests you. It's what keeps you steady under pressure. Now let's be clear, nobody feels motivated all the time. Nobody wakes up every day excited to tackle every task. That's not how real life works. Some days your mind will be foggy, your body will feel heavy, the results might be slow. But success isn't about waiting to feel perfect. It's about making a choice and sticking to it, even when it gets hard. That's where discipline lives. It lives in those moments where you want to walk away, but instead you decide to keep going, not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because you gave your word to yourself. One of the reasons people struggle is because they keep changing direction. They start a workout plan and quit after 3 days. They begin writing something and never finish the first page. They sign up for something and leave it halfway through. And what's worse, they think it doesn't matter. But it does. Because over time, it eats away at your self-trust. It weakens your inner foundation. You begin to see yourself as someone who doesn't follow through, and that self-position, it becomes the biggest thing holding you back. If you want to turn that around, start small. Pick one task today that you've been putting off. Finish it, no matter how you feel. Don't wait to be in the mood. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just do it. And when you're done, feel that shift. That sense of being dependable, not to others, but to yourself. That's how you rebuild inner strength. One finished task at a time. You need to take responsibility for your own energy. You won't always be inspired, but you can always act with purpose. You don't need fireworks, you need commitment. You need to be the kind of person who stays with the process until the end, even if the progress is slow, even if it's not fun, even if it's far from perfect. Because there is no finish line in growth. You just keep showing up and doing the work. Finishing something doesn't mean it has to be flawless. It means you gave your best effort until the task was complete. It means you didn't quit when it was uncomfortable. You didn't bail when no one was pushing you. You made the decision to keep going, and you honored it. That habit, once it's in you, translates to everything. You become better at your job. You follow through in your relationships, you trust your own word, and people begin to trust you too. Most people underestimate how far one completed task can go. It's not just about productivity, it's about identity. When you finish what you start, you become someone who takes life seriously. You become someone people respect, because they can see that you don't cut corners. That kind of consistency doesn't just create results, it builds reputation, and reputation builds opportunity. You don't need to do everything at once, but you do need to finish what you begin. Whether it's a simple routine or a long-term project, show up for the process. Stay focused even when your motivation dips. Stay honest when it's tempting to quit, and stay grounded in your values, not your mood. Think of every task as a promise, and every time you break it, you weaken that muscle. But every time you follow through, no matter how small, you get stronger. You become more focused, more disciplined, more in control of your direction. That's what separates people who talk about success from those who live it. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to have the most talent. But if you can build the habit of finishing what you start, your progress will stack. Slowly at first, but then it compounds. And soon you'll look back and realize that you've become a different person. Not because you had some breakthrough, but because you made the decision over and over to follow through, no matter what. That's what real success looks like. It's not glamorous, it's not always exciting. It's built on the ground where the work is. Where most people stop, you go further. Where others say it's good enough, you keep pushing. Where others walk away, you stay locked in. Not because it's easy, but because you've decided to become someone who finishes. So if you want to move forward in life, stop quitting early. Start finishing. Build that muscle. Protect it. Use it every day, and soon enough, your life will begin to reflect the power of your follow-through. The results will speak for you. The strength will show in how you carry yourself, and you'll realize you don't need to chase success. You just need to keep showing up and closing the gap between intention and action. Finish what you start, no matter how you feel. That habit alone can change everything. Chapter 3. Make a list and do it without overthinking. Most people lose their day before it even begins, not because they're lazy, but because they don't know what they're supposed to do. They wake up and drift through the hours, checking messages, reacting to problems, jumping from one thing to the next, with no structure, no order, and no target. By the time evening comes, they feel busy but not productive, tired but not fulfilled. That happens when you don't take control of your day. That happens when you don't plan clearly and simply. Success needs structure, not complexity, just structure. And one of the simplest tools for taking control of your time is writing a list. Not in your head, not on some random app you forget about. Physically write it down. Take 5 minutes every morning to put it in front of you. This is what I'm doing today. This is what matters. This is what gets done. It sounds small, but it's powerful. Because that list becomes your focus. It keeps your mind from spinning in circles. It stops you from guessing and reacting all day long. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they need to feel ready before they act. They sit around overthinking what should come first, how long it'll take, whether they're in the mood or not. And in that overthinking, they waste the very energy they need to move. You don't need a perfect plan, you need a simple one. And once you've written that list, you don't analyze it all day. You just start, one item at a time. You get in motion and let momentum do the rest. You're not supposed to figure everything out in your head. That's where doubt lives. That's where confusion builds. Get it out of your head and onto paper. Make it simple, direct, clear. You don't need a full breakdown of every minute, just enough clarity to keep you moving. And once it's on the page, commit to it. Don't rewrite it 5 times. Don't keep switching your priorities just because something feels difficult. Respect your own plan. When you write things down, you're making a promise to yourself. You're saying, these are the actions that will shape my day. Not my mood, not other people's demands, just these clear tasks that I chose with intention. That's how successful people manage their time. They don't rely on memory. They don't keep everything in their head. They simplify the day into a few meaningful actions, and then they execute. The real problem most people have isn't lack of time. It's lack of clarity. They don't know what to do next, so they reach for distractions. They fill the gaps with things that feel urgent but don't matter. And when the day ends, they feel like they were everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You don't have to live like that. You can train your mind to stay focused, but it starts with writing that list. And don't write 20 things. That's not a list. That's a trap. Pick the few that matter, the ones that move your life forward, the ones you've been avoiding, the ones that challenge you. Keep it short and realistic. If you try to do everything, you'll do nothing. But if you commit to doing 3 to 5 important things, and you finish them with discipline, you'll start building a new rhythm. Overthinking is a form of fear. It disguises itself as preparation, but it's really avoidance. When you overthink, you give your energy to doubt instead of action. You imagine all the ways something could go wrong, or all the reasons you're not ready. And while you're thinking, life keeps moving. The opportunity passes, the energy fades, and you're left wondering why nothing changed. It didn't change because you didn't move. So instead of thinking yourself into exhaustion, get moving with what's already in front of you. Write the task. Start the task. Stay with the task. That's the habit. And it works in every area: work, fitness, relationships, personal goals. You can't grow if you keep hesitating. You can't build anything if you keep second-guessing. You need to train yourself to move with clarity. That's why the list matters. It's not just paper, it's your command center. It's your daily reminder that your time has value, that your energy has a purpose. You don't need a list to be productive. You need a list that reflects what truly matters. What you choose to focus on becomes your result. So choose wisely. And once you've written it, don't treat it like a suggestion. Treat it like a commitment. Get rid of the idea that you need to feel inspired every time. You don't. What you need is consistency, discipline, execution. The list helps you avoid emotional decision-making. It keeps you grounded. Because if you're deciding in the moment, you're more likely to choose comfort. But if the decision is already made, if it's already written, then you remove the friction. Now you just act. One step, then the next. That rhythm becomes your power. It builds focus. It builds progress. And progress changes your mindset. There's no magic in the list itself. The magic is in doing what you said you'd do. It's in proving to yourself that you can create a plan and follow through. That's where self-respect grows. That's where confidence is built. Not by talking, but by taking action. Action you can see. Action that moves the needle forward, even just a little. Start your morning with a pen and paper. Write it before the world pulls at your attention. Don't open social media. Don't check messages. Sit with your own goals first. Decide what matters. Keep it short. Keep it real. And then begin. Start with the first item. Don't think about all of them at once. Don't worry about how long it will take. Just begin. You'll feel resistance, but act anyway. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, the next one gets easier. And don't beat yourself up if you don't get everything done. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction. You're training your mind to stay organized. You're giving yourself structure. And with structure comes freedom. Because now you're not trapped by randomness. You're not spending the day reacting. You're in control. And that control turns into confidence. That confidence turns into momentum. And momentum, that's where everything begins to change. Each time you complete a task, cross it off. That small motion feels good. It tells your brain, I'm making progress. That keeps you going. It keeps you engaged. The more tasks you complete, the more energy you gain. Not the other way round. Don't wait for energy to come to you. Earn it, build it, feed it by taking action. And at the end of the day, look back at your list. Ask yourself, did I do what mattered? Not everything, just what mattered. If the answer is yes, you're growing. If the answer is no, don't make excuses. Adjust, improve. But don't ignore the process. The list works if you use it. It's not a fancy system, it's a habit. A simple daily habit that separates the focused from the scattered, the consistent from the chaotic, the achievers from the wishers. So tomorrow morning, write your list. Make it clean, make it honest. Don't overthink it. Start where you are, use what you have, and just begin. The work doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be done. That's how you build a strong day. That's how you build a focused life. And that's how you win, one clear list at a time.
Chapter 4. Work when others relax if you want real progress. If you want real progress in your life, you have to learn to work when others are resting. That doesn't mean you never take a break. It means you become someone who puts in focused effort while the rest of the world slows down. While others sleep in on weekends, you're putting in the extra time. While they waste hours in distraction, you're building something real. While they talk about goals, you're already doing the work. You can't live like everyone else and expect to have a different result. If you want something more than average, you have to do more than average. And often that means working when no one's watching. It means showing up when there's no praise, no reward, no cheering crowd. It's just you, your decision, and your discipline. That's where real growth comes from, not in the spotlight, but in the quiet. People think success is about luck or talent. It's not. It's about time. It's about how you use the time most people waste. You've got the same 24 hours as anyone else. The difference is how you spend them. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment to work, when you're rested, when you're motivated, when everything feels right, you'll stay stuck. Because that perfect moment rarely comes. But the person who works even when it's not easy, that's the one who moves forward. There will always be a choice in front of you. Do you sit back like everyone else, or do you push a little further? Do you relax now, or do you build now, so you can relax later on your own terms? Every time you choose work over comfort, you're getting ahead. Not just in your tasks, but in your mindset. You're becoming stronger, more focused, more resilient. And that shows up in everything else you do. You'll start to notice something. When you work during the quiet hours, early mornings, late nights, weekends, you're not just being productive. You're creating distance between you and the competition. Because most people are not doing that. Most people are distracted. Most people want the reward without the grind. But you're building grit. You're separating yourself through action. And over time, that separation turns into something real, better skills, better habits, better results. It won't always be exciting. Sometimes you'll feel like you're missing out. While others are enjoying themselves, you're locked in. But that sacrifice has purpose. It's not about being busy. It's about building a life you're proud of. One that isn't controlled by laziness or comfort. One that's shaped by intention and effort. Because the truth is, everyone wants to be successful until they see what it actually takes. Then most people walk away. But not you. You stay. You work. You grow. You have to develop the ability to focus deeply when it's inconvenient. That's where the edge is. Not just when you feel inspired, but when you don't. Not just when you're in the mood, but when you're not. That's what successful people do. They work through the resistance. They show up even when it's uncomfortable. They make time, not excuses. You don't need to wait for others to catch up. You don't need permission to work harder. You already know what needs to be done, so do it. The hours you use while others are on autopilot, those are the hours that change everything. You might not see results right away, but you're building something inside that no one can take from you: work ethic, patience, and control. This is what discipline looks like. Doing the hard things when no one else is willing to. Putting your head down and committing to your own path. No distractions, no shortcuts. Just the next step, the next rep, the next hour, and it adds up. Quietly, powerfully, day by day. Because when the rest of the world slows down, you speed up. It doesn't mean you never rest. Rest is earned. And when you rest with peace, knowing you gave your best. But don't confuse rest with avoidance. Don't call it balance if what you're really doing is procrastinating. Ask yourself honestly, have you earned your break today? Have you pushed your limit? Have you done the work? If you have, great. But if you haven't, don't lie to yourself. Get back to it. Because that's how winners think. This habit, working while others relax, starts small. You don't need to overdo it. You just need to be consistent. Stay up 1 hour later to finish your task. Wake up 1 hour earlier to get a head start. Use your weekends to study something new. Use your evenings to improve your craft. That time builds momentum. And momentum turns into mastery. You're not in competition with anyone else. You're building against who you were yesterday. And every day you work while others coast, you create separation. That separation may not show up today or tomorrow, but it's coming. Eventually the results will speak. The confidence will grow. The opportunities will open. Because success doesn't chase people who wait. It rewards those who keep moving when others stop. People will ask you how you did it. And your answer will be simple. I worked when you relaxed. I practiced when you played. I focused when you wandered. I did the work when it was hard, not just when it was easy. That's the price. And that's what most won't pay. That's why most won't reach it. So don't be afraid to be different. Don't worry about fitting in. Build your own standard. Set your own pace. Get comfortable being the one who chooses effort over ease. Because that mindset, that quiet grind, that's what builds real power. Not flashy words. Not fake motivation. Just consistent, real work when others aren't willing to give it. There will be days when it feels like no one notices. When it feels like you're doing all this work and getting nowhere. Keep going. Those are the days that build the most strength. Those are the hours that will one day turn into results you never imagined. Not because it came fast, but because you stayed steady. Success is not built in the crowd. It's built in solitude, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the decision to keep working after others have stopped. If you want real progress, there's no secret. You don't need more information. You need more action, more discipline, more of that steady push, day after day. You already have what it takes. You just have to decide that your future matters more than your comfort, that your goals matter more than temporary ease, that the life you want is worth the price of effort. And when you live by that, nothing can stop you. Work while others relax. That's not punishment. It's power. It's the advantage. It's what makes you different. And if you stay with it long enough and strong enough, it becomes your edge. It becomes your story. And that story is one of progress, built in quiet moments when the world was too distracted to care. But you cared. And that's what made all the difference. Chapter 5. Study winners and copy what actually works for them. One of the smartest decisions you can make if you want to grow fast and strong is to stop guessing and start learning from the people who are already where you want to be. Success leaves behind a trail. It's not hidden. It's not locked away. It's right there in their habits, their decisions, their priorities, their thinking. If you study winners closely, you'll see exactly what works. And once you see it, don't just admire it. Copy it. Use it. Apply it in your life without trying to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to start from zero. There are people ahead of you who've already figured out the hard parts. People who've failed, corrected, adjusted, and pushed through. They've made the mistakes. They've done the work. They've tested what works and what doesn't. You don't have to repeat all their mistakes. You just have to observe what got them results and model it with consistency. Start with this. Pick someone who has results in the area you want to improve. Not someone who talks well, but someone whose life reflects real proof. Look at how they live. Look at how they think. Study how they manage their time, how they talk, how they handle problems. Success is not about copying a person's life. It's about copying what's effective. If a winner wakes up at a certain time, manages distractions in a certain way, or sticks to a daily habit that produces results, don't argue with it. Use it. Most people waste years trying to figure out things on their own, ignoring the examples right in front of them. They think copying someone is weak. It's not. It's smart. It saves you time. It reduces trial and error. It helps you get moving faster. You don't have to become them. You just have to learn from them. What works for them may not look flashy, but it's proven. And proven matters more than perfect. The key is to go deep, not wide. Don't just watch 10 different people and stay confused. Choose one or two who align with your values and your goals. Study them with full attention. Re-watch their talks. Re-watch their talks. Re-watch their talks. Ask what they would do in your position. This isn't about copying their clothes, their words, or their lifestyle. This is about understanding their principles and applying those to your path. If someone's built a business, don't just focus on their success. Study what they did when no one was watching. What did they do when no one believed in them? How did they stay focused? What sacrifices did they make? What mistakes did they correct? This is where the gold is. Not in their highlight reel, but in their habits. Not in their image, but in their process. If you want to grow faster, copy how winners think. Because thinking drives everything. A winner looks at a challenge and sees opportunity. A weak mind sees excuses. A winner expects setbacks and prepares for them. Most people quit at the first sign of resistance. A winner adjusts and keeps going. When you model this kind of thinking, you start approaching life with a stronger mindset. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. Be very careful who you listen to. Not everyone who speaks has earned the right to guide you. Don't just listen to the loudest voice. Listen to the person whose results match their words. If they've built something real, they have something to teach. Respect that. Follow that. Apply it. The world is full of opinions, but results are rare. Choose results. Make this a daily habit. Study winners in the morning instead of watching random content that distracts you. Read books by people who've done what you want to do. Take notes. Write down what they do differently. Ask yourself, where am I falling short? What could I do today that they would do in my position? This is not about admiration. It's about action. Information doesn't change your life. Application does. Look closely at their discipline. How do they stay consistent? What do they avoid? How do they recover from failure? You'll notice something. They have systems. They don't rely on willpower. They build habits that make action automatic. You can do the same. You don't have to figure out everything from scratch. Their system can become your structure. Their blueprint can help you build your own foundation. When you study winners, be honest with yourself. Don't just look for motivation. Look for the truth. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. You'll realize you've been wasting time. You'll see that you've been avoiding hard work or living without a clear goal. That's okay. Use that as a wake-up call. Apply what they do without delay. Not tomorrow, not next week. Start now. You'll also find that winners simplify things. They don't complicate success. They focus on what works. They cut out the noise. They know where their energy should go, and they protect it. If you copy that one trait alone, knowing what matters and sticking to it, you'll already be ahead of most people. The reason most people stay stuck is they don't want to do the boring stuff. But if you study any winner, you'll see the same thing. They don't avoid the boring work. They lean into it. They understand that success is built on repetition, not random effort. Copy that. Learn to show up even when it's not exciting. Build structure into your day. Track your progress. Fix what's not working. Those actions sound basic, but they build real momentum. Don't just study their success. Study their failures, the mistakes they made, the lessons they learned. Ask how they handled doubt, fear, rejection. That's where you grow the most. Not from their victories, but from their setbacks. Because every winner was once a beginner. Every expert was once lost. They just didn't stay there, and neither should you. If you want to change your life, you don't need more time. You need better direction, and winners provide that direction. Their stories, their habits, their standards, they light the way. But only if you take them seriously. Only if you stop watching passively and start applying actively. You don't need to be original to be effective. You need to be consistent, focused, and willing to learn. Study winners and apply what actually works for them. That's not copying. That's growth. That's learning from what's proven. That's respecting your future enough to stop guessing and start acting. And if you do that long enough, you'll stop needing their blueprint, because you'll be building your own. And someday someone will look at you and say, I'm going to study them. And you'll know you didn't get here by chance. You got here because you chose to learn, to apply, and to grow. just like the winners you once studied. Chapter 6. Push through boredom and stay locked on your target. Most people give up, not because something is too hard, but because it feels too dull. They're not defeated by pain, they're defeated by boredom. They start with energy, with excitement, with big plans, but somewhere in the middle, when the results don't come fast and the routine starts to feel repetitive, they stop showing up. They start skipping days, making excuses, searching for something new that feels fresh. What they don't realize is this: boredom is part of the process. And if you can't push through it, you'll never reach your full potential. The truth is, anything meaningful takes time. Real change, real mastery, real progress, all of it demands repetition. It demands focus, and it demands the ability to stay with something long after the feelings wear off. The winners in life aren't the ones who always feel motivated. They're the ones who stay locked in when motivation is gone. They keep doing the work when it's quiet, when it's slow, when it's ordinary. Boredom isn't the enemy. It's a test. It's asking you one question. Will you keep going when it's not exciting? Will you stay locked on your target, even when your mind wants to wander? Because if you can train yourself to move through the boredom, you'll find another level of strength. You'll find a kind of discipline most people never touch. That's what separates those who wish from those who win. Success is built during the stretches of time when nothing seems to be changing, when the routine feels dry, when the progress is invisible. But that's where the foundation is laid. That's where the mental muscle is built. Most people get distracted at this point. They jump to a new plan. They look for shortcuts. They chase variety. And every time they restart, they delay their growth. They forget that the goal isn't to feel entertained. The goal is to build something that lasts. You have to understand what boredom really is. It's not a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that your mind is craving novelty. But the work doesn't change just to please your feelings. Boredom means you've settled into a rhythm, and it's in that rhythm where the real transformation happens. But only if you stay locked in. You're not always going to feel a spark. You won't always feel like you're making progress. Some days you'll question whether it's working. But if the work is right, and your direction is clear, then your job is to keep going. Keep showing up. Keep hitting the target. Even if the pace is slow, even if no one's clapping, even if it feels repetitive, because that steady grind is where breakthroughs are born. Think about anything that matters in your life. It was built with consistency, not inspiration. You didn't learn to walk, speak, write, or drive by doing it once. You did it again and again until it became natural, until it became part of who you are. But now that you're older, your tolerance for boredom has dropped. You want fast results. You want instant excitement. And that mindset keeps you stuck. It keeps you starting over again and again without ever mastering anything. You don't need to be entertained. You need to be committed. You need to remind yourself why you started. You need to hold the target in your mind and keep taking aim. That's what successful people do. They keep their focus sharp. They don't let boredom steal their consistency. They don't give in to distractions just because the work doesn't feel new. They know that success is often hidden behind long periods of repetition. You have to build your tolerance. You have to learn to stay in the work even when your emotions aren't excited. That's how champions are made. They train when it's dull. They repeat when it's quiet. They refine the same skills over and over until it becomes second nature. They don't chase stimulation. They build structure. Every time you stay focused during a boring stretch, you're building strength that others don't have. You're teaching your mind that action doesn't depend on excitement. You're creating a kind of freedom, freedom from the need to feel something before doing something. That's real power, because when the feelings are gone, you're still moving. And that movement compounds. That's how progress is made. So next time you feel bored, don't run from it. Don't numb it. Use it. Let it sharpen your discipline. Let it strengthen your patience. Sit in it, breathe through it, and keep going anyway. That's where the separation happens. That's where your future self is being built. It's not about working harder. It's about working longer. Staying committed when the excitement fades. That's what creates excellence. That's what builds a life that's strong and steady. People will ask how you stayed so focused. They'll wonder why you never gave up. And the answer will be simple. You stopped expecting every moment to be exciting. You learned to work through the boredom, and that made you unstoppable. There will always be a voice in your head that says, "This is too dull, try something else." That voice wants you to stay comfortable. It wants you to keep starting over. But that voice has no interest in your success. It just wants relief. Ignore it. Let it talk, but don't follow it. Stay with your process. Stay with your plan. You're not here to chase feelings. You're here to build results. To train your mind, to build a life that reflects discipline, not emotion. That's the mission. And every time you stick to your work, when it's not exciting, you prove that mission matters more than your mood. If you can keep your focus while others lose theirs, you'll rise above them over time. Not with talent, not with luck, but with endurance. Because while they were looking for something new, you were doing the same thing again and again, until it paid off. It doesn't take a special kind of person to push through boredom. It takes a decision, a clear choice to stay locked in, a choice to honor your routine, a choice to keep going without needing every moment to feel good. That decision is yours. And if you make it, again and again your results will rise. Progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes it's in the days where everything feels the same. But if you stay consistent through those days, you'll look back and realize you changed. Not overnight, but through a quiet, steady, focused grind that most people weren't willing to do. Stay locked on your target. Keep showing up. Don't confuse boredom with failure. You're not failing, you're building. Keep building. Because the ones who stay with it when it's dull are the ones who reach the top. Chapter 7. Clean up your space before starting anything important. If you want to do something important, start by cleaning up your space. That small action tells your brain it's time to get serious. It sets a tone. It prepares you. Most people overlook this, but it matters more than they realize. Because how you treat your environment is often a reflection of how you treat your goals. If your space is messy, scattered, and full of clutter, your focus will be the same. You can't create order in your mind while sitting in a mess. You need to clear your surroundings so your mind can lock into what matters. You don't need a perfect space. You just need a clear one. The goal isn't to decorate. It's to remove distraction. A table covered in papers, old dishes, open tabs, reminders of unfinished tasks, all of that pulls at your attention. You might not even notice it at first, but your mind feels it. It feels the weight of everything that's not done. And when that weight is sitting around you, it's harder to focus fully on what you're trying to do right now. Before you sit down to work, to study, to plan, to build, pause. Look around. Ask yourself, is this space helping me focus or holding me back? Take a few minutes to clear it. Pick up what doesn't belong. Wipe down the surface. Put things in place. Shut off what doesn't serve the task at hand. This doesn't need to take long. Even 5 to 10 minutes can shift your state completely. It moves you from scattered to centered. You're not just cleaning a desk, you're setting a boundary. You're saying, right now this is where my attention goes. That action may seem small, but it's deeply psychological. It tells your brain you're switching gears. You're moving into a different mode, one where focus, clarity, and purpose matter. And when your mind believes that, your performance improves. Not because you suddenly got smarter, but because your focus is no longer divided. People underestimate how much energy they lose from disorder. Every item out of place is a micro-distraction, a reminder, a question, a delay. You sit down to write, and your eye catches the mess in the corner. You're about to start planning, and something on the floor reminds you of what you didn't finish yesterday. That friction builds up. It doesn't seem like much, but it chips away at your attention. It slows your start. It weakens your concentration. When your space is clean, your decisions are sharper. You don't waste time looking for things. You don't feel overwhelmed before you've even begun. You start with intention. You begin with control. That control creates momentum. And that momentum moves you faster into deep work, into meaningful focus, into real results. Most people wait for motivation before they get organized. But it works the other way around. When you clean your space, motivation often follows. Because now your environment feels like it matches your ambition. It's no longer working against you, it's working for you. You can sit down and feel ready, clear and focused. You're no longer fighting the mess. You're working with purpose. This isn't about being neat for the sake of neatness. This is about building the habit of preparation. You don't walk into a gym and lift weights without warming up. You don't run a marathon without preparing your body. So why would you try to do something important without preparing your space? That preparation is part of the process. It's the signal. It's the setup. And once it becomes a habit, you'll wonder how you ever worked any other way. Cleaning your space is a form of respect, not just for the task, but for yourself. You're saying, what I'm about to do matters, so I'm going to treat it that way. That kind of mindset elevates everything. It makes even ordinary work feel valuable. And when you treat your work as valuable, you show up differently. You're more engaged, you're more committed. You take yourself more seriously. And that seriousness leads to better results. Success is not about big changes. It's about small habits that stack. Clearing your space is one of those habits. It's something anyone can do, anytime, anywhere. No special tools, no long process. Just a decision to start fresh before diving into the next task. That habit builds mental clarity. It trains your brain to associate clean space with focused action. And once that association is built, it becomes automatic. You'll begin to notice that your best work doesn't happen in chaos. It happens in calm. And calm doesn't just appear, it's created by you. By the way you set up your space, your tools, your surroundings. It becomes a ritual, a way to prepare your mind before you create, solve or build. And the more you practice that ritual, the easier it becomes to drop into deep focus quickly. You're not doing this for show, you're doing it to win. To make sure nothing around you steals your attention. You're reducing the number of decisions you have to make. You're limiting the distractions you'll need to fight later. That's smart. That's intentional. That's how successful people move. Not randomly, not reactively, but with direction. Your space becomes a reflection of your priorities. If you keep your work area clean and clear, it shows that you take your work seriously. And when you take it seriously, others start to as well. They see the difference in how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you produce. That impression matters, not because you're trying to impress, but because consistency creates credibility. Start making this a rule. Don't begin important work until your space is ready. Not perfect. Ready, organized enough to support focus, clean enough to let your brain breathe. You'll notice the difference right away. You'll feel lighter, faster, more locked in, and that energy carries into everything you do. This small habit also builds discipline. You're teaching yourself that preparation matters, that you don't just dive into things impulsively, that you take the time to set yourself up for success, and that discipline spills into other areas. You eat better, you think clear, you make better decisions, all because you built one small habit that reshaped your mindset. Don't underestimate the power of this. Try it for a week. Before any important task, pause for 5 minutes. Clean up your space. Remove what doesn't need to be there. Put your tools where they belong. Then sit down and start. You'll notice that your focus lasts longer. Your energy feels stronger. Your output becomes more consistent. And the chaos in your mind quiets down. This is how you get ahead. Not by rushing, not by working in noise, but by preparing your environment to match your goals. Every goal needs a place where it can grow. Make your space that place. Give it the care it deserves, and it will give you the clarity you've been looking for. No one is stopping you from doing this. You don't need permission. You don't need a new system. You just need to value your space enough to clean it before you begin. That simple act changes your entire approach. It reminds you that you're in control, that your results begin before the work even starts. They begin with how you set the stage. And if you set it right, you'll be ready to perform at your best. Every time. Chapter 8. Ask better questions when things are not going right. When life stops going the way you want it to, when your progress slows down, when you're stuck or frustrated or feel like nothing is working, the most important thing you can do is not complain or blame or shut down. The most important thing you can do is ask better questions. Most people respond to challenges with bad questions. Why does this always happen to me? Why am I so unlucky? Why can't I catch a break? Those kinds of questions don't solve anything. They just keep you trapped in the same cycle. They feed helplessness. They drain your energy, and they stop your mind from doing what it's designed to do, solve problems and move forward. Better questions create better answers. That's how it works. Your brain is a search engine. Whatever question you feed it, it starts looking for an answer. So if you keep feeding it weak, negative or emotional questions, you'll get weak answers. If you ask, why do I always mess things up? Your brain will start listing reasons why you're not good enough. If you ask, what can I do differently right now to improve this? It starts looking for strategies, options and steps forward. It starts working for you instead of against you. You have to take control of the way you respond when things are not going right. That moment is a turning point. That's where your mindset shows up. And your mindset is shaped by the questions you ask. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you interpret it. You can choose to look deeper. You can choose to find meaning. You can choose to search for the lesson instead of just sitting in the frustration. This isn't about being fake positive. It's not about pretending everything's great when it isn't. It's about refusing to be powerless. It's about saying, this situation is tough, but I'm not just going to react. I'm going to ask the right questions so I can learn from it and grow through it. That's how successful people think. They don't panic, they don't run. They reflect, they dig, they search for answers with discipline and patience. When something breaks, don't just focus on the pain. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? When progress slows, ask, where am I missing something? When your plan falls apart, ask, what can I adjust right now to get back on track? When you feel stuck, ask, what's one small action I can take right now that moves me forward? These are strong questions. These questions keep you thinking, keep you focused, and keep you moving. Bad questions make you emotional. Good questions make you intentional. And that's the shift you need when things are going wrong. You need to stop reacting and start reflecting. You need to stop spinning and start analyzing. You need to stop making it about how hard it is and start making it about what you can do with what's in front of you. Sometimes the reason you're stuck isn't because you're doing the wrong thing. It's because you've stopped thinking clearly. You're stuck in old habits, old emotions, and old ways of seeing things. But if you ask the right question, you can pull yourself out of that. A question like, who can help me with this? Or what would someone more experienced do right now? Can open new doors. It can shift your thinking. It can push you out of the loop you've been stuck in and point you to a new way forward. When you're in a situation that feels like failure, ask, what was in my control and what wasn't? That helps you separate facts from emotion. That helps you own what you can without carrying guilt you don't need. Or ask, if I had to do this over again, what would I do differently? That builds awareness. It creates future strength from current struggle. Asking better questions also builds self-respect, because it means you're not just sitting back hoping something changes. You're leaning into the discomfort and doing the work of growth. That's mature. That's powerful. That's the mindset that leads to progress, not by accident, but by choice. Start noticing your questions, especially when you're frustrated, overwhelmed, or exhausted. That's when bad questions show up most often. That's when people start asking, what's the point, or why do I even bother? Catch those. Don't let them take over. Replace them. Ask something that gives you a path instead of a wall. Ask something that lights a fire instead of putting it out. You might not get the answer right away. That's okay. Ask anyway. Let the question sit in your mind. Let your brain work on it in the background. Sometimes the answer will come when you're walking, when you're writing, when you're quiet. But it will come, because your brain is always listening. The better the question, the better the work it does. This isn't about tricks or shortcuts. This is about self-leadership, the ability to guide your own thinking, to steer your own mind in the direction of growth instead of defeat. That's what separates people who stay stuck from people who rise. It's not luck. It's not even talent. It's the decision to think better under pressure. You don't need a coach or a mentor every time something goes wrong. You need to become the kind of person who asks strong questions on your own. Who sits with the challenge and doesn't run from it? Who says, this is tough, but I've got tools. I've got questions. I've got the ability to figure this out. That's what real growth looks like. So next time something falls apart, don't just feel it, think through it. Don't just react, respond with intention. Don't just complain, ask better. Ask deeper. Ask forward. The answers you find will change the way you move. They'll sharpen your clarity. They'll build your resilience, and they'll bring you back to progress. one strong question at a time. And once you start asking better questions, you'll notice something else. You stop fearing problems so much, because you know how to face them. You've built the habit of thinking clearly, of looking for meaning, of acting on insight. That's how confidence is built, not by avoiding failure, but by learning how to respond when it shows up. Train yourself to stop saying, "This isn't fair," and start saying, "What can I do about this right now?" Train yourself to stop thinking, "I can't handle this," and start asking, "What would my strongest self do here?" Train yourself to turn every breakdown into a moment of learning. That's not a mindset you're born with. It's one you build by asking, over and over, until your brain learns that questions are your first tool, not your last resort. The day you stop asking weak questions is the day you start growing stronger. And the more you grow, the less life knocks you down. Not because life gets easier, but because your thinking gets better. And better thinking leads to better choices. And better choices, that's how everything changes. One question at a time. Chapter 9. Choose your circle based on what you want most. If you want to live a better life, you have to take a hard look at the people around you, not with emotion, but with honesty. Not based on history, but based on direction. The truth is, you become like the people you spend time with. Their energy rubs off on you, their habits, their mindset, their lifestyle. It influences how you think, how you act, and how far you're going to go. You can't keep saying you want something better for your life while surrounding yourself with people who don't want anything for theirs. Your circle has to match your vision. If your goal is to grow, to level up, to become more disciplined, to build something meaningful, then your environment has to support that. You can't stay close to people who live on excuses and expect to grow into someone who lives on discipline. You can't keep giving time to people who play small and think you'll wake up playing big. It doesn't work that way. You absorb what you're around. If your circle isn't focused, you'll struggle to stay focused. If your circle doesn't value growth, you'll start to question your own drive. It doesn't mean you look down on anyone. It means you start choosing intentionally, because your time and your energy are too valuable to be spent in places that don't help you move forward. If the people around you drain you, distract you, or slow you down, you owe it to your future to make a change. That change might be uncomfortable, but growth and comfort rarely exist in the same space. You have to choose one. Ask yourself what you want most. Not just today, but long term. Ask yourself what kind of person you're trying to become. Then look at the people around you. Are they helping you move in that direction? Or are they holding you back? Are they pushing you to raise your standards? Or are they pulling you back to the same patterns you've been trying to break? If you're serious about change, your circle can't stay the same. You don't need to cut people off with anger or ego. You just need to set your direction and move with clarity. And sometimes that means people will naturally fall away, not because you hate them, but because you've outgrown the place where you connected. That's part of the journey. Not everyone is meant to go the whole way with you. Some people are part of the beginning. Some are part of the climb. Very few are built for the whole process. Start surrounding yourself with people who live with intention. People who challenge you to think bigger. People who don't settle. People who are working on themselves. People who aren't perfect, but they're trying. People who are consistent, who show up, who take action. When you spend time with people like that, something in you rises, your mindset sharpens, your standards lift. You stop making excuses because no one around you accepts them. You need people who don't just talk about discipline, they live it. People who don't just wish, they work. You need friends who make you feel like you're behind in the best way possible, not because they're better than you, but because their effort is a reminder of what's possible. That's the kind of pressure that grows you. That's the kind of environment that forces you to level up. If you're always the most focused person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to be around people who challenge you to rise. If your circle is full of people who waste time, gossip, make excuses, and stay stuck in the same place, it's only a matter of time before that becomes normal to you. And once it becomes normal, you stop growing. You stop pushing. You stop believing that something more is possible. Your goals are not just about what you do, they're also about who you're doing life with. The wrong people will slow you down. The right ones will lift you up. They'll correct you. They'll call you out. They'll remind you of your standards when you forget them. And sometimes they'll believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. That kind of support is rare. That kind of energy is powerful. Protect it. This isn't about only keeping people who agree with you. It's about keeping people who care about your direction. People who respect your path. People who hold you accountable. Growth doesn't always come with comfort. And good people will challenge you. They won't let you lie to yourself. They won't watch you give half effort and say nothing. They'll speak up. Not to hurt you, but to help you stay on track. Pay attention to how you feel after being with someone. Do you feel drained or driven? Confused or clear? Heavy or light? If someone constantly brings chaos into your life, it's not personal to walk away. It's necessary. You're not responsible for fixing everyone, but you are responsible for protecting your own mind. And that means choosing your circle based on your future, not your past. Some people are attached to an old version of you, and the moment you start changing, they'll get uncomfortable. They'll joke about how serious you've become. They'll try to pull you back to old habits, not because they're bad, but because your growth shines a light on their comfort. That's their issue, not yours. Keep moving. Your job is not to make everyone understand your vision. Your job is to honor it, build it, and protect it. Find people who speak life into you, who push you to stay consistent, who don't tolerate laziness, who ask you what you're working on, who remind you of your goals when you're slipping. You don't need a crowd, you just need a few real ones. People who are building something too, people who are fighting their own battles but still show up. That's where you belong. And if you don't have those people yet, be that person first. Be the one who lives with focus. Be the one who stays consistent. Be the one who sets the standard. And you'll start attracting people who move like you, because energy recognizes energy. And when you live with direction, the right people will find you, or you'll find them. But you won't attract them by playing small. Your environment either builds you or breaks you. It pushes you forward or holds you back. It keeps you sharp or keeps you stuck. You get to choose, and every time you choose better people, you choose a better path. You choose a better mindset. You choose a better life. Not because it's easier, but because it's aligned. The right circle won't just cheer for your growth. They'll expect it. And that expectation will keep you moving. You'll stop making excuses when your circle is full of people who don't make them either. You'll stop lowering your standards when you see others living with high ones. That's the power of proximity. That's the value of choosing your circle based on what you want most. You can't grow in the wrong environment. You can try, but it'll feel like dragging your feet through mud. Make it easier on yourself. Choose better. Stand on your vision, not your history. And remind yourself daily that the people around you are either helping you rise or helping you stay the same. Choose the ones who make rising your only option. Chapter 10. Check how you acted and fix your weak points. At the end of the day, one of the most important things you can do is pause and take a real look at how you showed up. Not to judge yourself, not to feel guilty, but to be honest. If you're serious about growth, you can't just go through life reacting and hoping things improve on their own. You have to study yourself. You have to take a few quiet minutes and ask yourself real questions. How did I act today? Was I sharp or distracted? Did I stay true to my values or get pulled off track? Did I give full effort or did I hold back? This habit of checking yourself daily builds awareness, and awareness is the beginning of change. You can't fix what you're not willing to face. You can't improve what you won't even admit is off. But most people skip this part. They finish the day and just move on. They scroll, they eat, they sleep, and they repeat the same patterns again tomorrow. That's how you stay stuck, not because you aren't capable of more, but because you refuse to evaluate your behavior with honesty and clarity. Every day gives you data. Every interaction, every choice, every reaction, it's all feedback. And if you ignore it, you stay blind to the very things that are slowing you down. You need to review the day the way a coach reviews a game, not with emotion, but with a sharp eye. Where were you strong? Where did you fall short? What could have been handled better? This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about building the skill of self-correction. Checking how you acted requires maturity. It takes humility to say, I could have done that better. It takes strength to say, I made a mistake, and I'm not going to pretend I didn't. That's not weakness. That's ownership. And ownership is rare. Most people would rather blame their circumstances, other people, or external problems. But the person who grows is the one who turns the lens inward. You have to look at your own patterns. Did you waste time today when you said you'd focus? Did you avoid a hard conversation that needed to happen? Did you let emotions control your choices? Did you talk more than you listened? These little habits add up, and they don't fix themselves. You fix them by catching them, by calling them out, and then by deciding to do better tomorrow. There's no need to overthink it. Just be real. Take 5 minutes at the end of the day. Sit quietly. No phone, no noise, just you and your thoughts. Ask yourself simple questions. Where was I strong today? Where did I break my own standards? What did I say I'd do that I didn't? What did I avoid that needs my attention? You don't need to write a full report. You just need to be honest enough to notice the gap. And once you see the weak point, don't beat yourself up. Fix it. Don't make excuses. Don't justify it. Fix it. Decide what you'll do differently tomorrow. Set one clear correction. If you snapped at someone today, plan to speak with more patience tomorrow. If you didn't follow through on a task, commit to starting early next time. If you caught yourself slipping into distractions, plan to change your environment so you can stay focused. Real growth happens in those small adjustments. One step at a time. You can't expect massive change without daily reflection. Growth is not automatic. It's intentional, and it takes effort to keep improving. But once this becomes a habit, you'll notice something powerful. Your standards rise. You stop settling for sloppy behavior. You stop letting weak moments slide. You begin to respect yourself more. And that respect fuels your discipline. When you check how you acted, you build trust with yourself. You're no longer just hoping to improve. You're working on it. And the more you work on it, the more momentum you create. That momentum builds confidence, not the fake kind that needs praise, but the deep kind that comes from knowing you're getting better. You're paying attention. You're not ignoring your flaws. You're correcting them. And that makes you more effective in everything you do. Your weak points are not shameful. They're opportunities. They're areas where you can grow stronger, faster, and sharper. But only if you face them, only if you treat them with urgency. Not tomorrow, not next week. Tonight, before you close your day, you look in the mirror, not just to see your face, but to see your effort, your attitude, your behavior. And you make a decision: what will I adjust? What will I tighten? What will I no longer ignore? No one is responsible for this but you. No one knows your mind like you do. No one knows what you're capable of but you. And no one is coming to force you to fix your habits. That's on you. And once you accept that, you become unstoppable. Because now you're not just working hard. You're working smart. You're fixing what breaks. You're improving what's weak. And every day, you're becoming a stronger version of yourself. This is how progress works. Not by chance, not by luck, but by deliberate review and personal correction. It doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be consistent. You take control of your behavior before it controls you. You make adjustments before things fall apart. You build a mindset that doesn't wait for failure to make a change. It makes the change now, when it matters. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest. You just need to care enough about your future to stop carrying today's mistakes into tomorrow. You catch them, you correct them, and you keep moving forward. That's what growth looks like. Quiet, real, daily improvement. Start tonight. Ask yourself how you acted today. Don't defend. Don't deny. Just observe. And fix one thing. Just one. That's enough. And tomorrow do the same. And the next day. And the next. You'll be shocked at what that kind of discipline can build over time. A sharper mind. A cleaner character. A stronger life. Not by force, but by focus. Not by pretending, but by facing the truth and doing something about it. One day at a time, one decision at a time, one habit at a time. That's how you rise. That's how you grow. That's how you lead yourself into a future you can be proud of.